If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. More than 6,000 souls perished in the September 8, 1900, hurricane that devastated the island town of Galveston, Texas. Men and women, rich and poor, black and white struggled alike in what was to that date the worst natural disaster in American history. Many more would have lost their lives, however, if it wasn't for the efforts of Dr. Isaac Monroe Klein, section director at the Weather Bureau headquarters. It was Klein who decided to raise the flags over the Weather Bureau, signaling an impending hurricane. He also spoke to large crowds of people in low-lying areas of the island, correctly predicting the unexpected force and direction of the storm. More than 100 years after the hurricane that would forever mark his career, Klein is still revered as a pioneer in his field. His work charting hurricanes, measuring their direction, speed, and precipitation, helped build the foundations for modern meteorology. Storms, floods, and sunshine preserves the science and emotion behind the man the Associated Press called the smiling, genial, climatological genius. During a time when formal scientific weather forecasting was in its infancy, Isaac Klein was a man with a penchant for predicting disasters. Born in 1861, Klein was a perpetually driven man who joined the U.S. Signal Corps' Weather Service in 1882. In 1891, when meteorologists were transferred to Department of Agriculture, Klein moved to the newly created U.S. Weather Bureau. Klein had a medical degree from the University of Arkansas in 1885, a Ph.D. from Texas Christian University in 1896, and a passion for the study of weather conditions. He spent years observing and writing about the effects of weather and climate on people's health and mortality. In 1895, Klein shifted his focus to the practice of more accurately predicting temperature readings to benefit crop production. He also began to focus on disaster prediction, and during the Spanish-American War, 1898, he established a storm warning system along the Mexican coast to help protect the U.S. naval fleet from hurricanes. In April 1900, while Klein and his expectant wife, Cora May Ballou Klein, were living in Galveston, Texas, with their 3 children, he successfully predicted the rupture of the Colorado River Dam in Austin, Texas, saving countless lives. That September he predicted another impending disaster, a hurricane headed for Galveston. Although he was unable to acquire cooperation from the Central Weather Bureau office in Washington, D.C., Klein followed his instinct and warned people housed along the beach and in lower elevations to relocate to higher ground. Because the weather preceding the storm had been fair and many of the people in Galveston were enjoying vacations, not everyone heeded Klein's warnings. On September 8, 1900, a devastating Category 4 hurricane hit Galveston. Over 6,000 people lost their lives, including Klein's wife and unborn child. Klein later estimated that death toll would have been double had he not detected the oncoming storm and issued a warning. Klein's personal loss can be seen in the documents contained within his official personnel folder. His report from November 1900 lists his marital status as single, widower, and his dependents as 3 little daughters. 20 days following the hurricane, Klein was most highly commended for alerting people to move to higher ground and for not leaving his post during the storm although under great personal peril. In 1901, Klein and his daughters moved to New Orleans, where he remarried and served as district forecaster. He was ultimately promoted to principal meteorologist. He continued to collaborate with the Mexican Meteorological Service and served as supervising forecaster for the district, which included Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. His passion for improving storm warning systems was a driving force through his career. In 1903, Klein warned the citizens of New Orleans about an impending flood and encouraged the construction of a temporary levee extension, which saved the city from disaster. He also warned of a hurricane that hit New Orleans in 1915, and additional floods in 1912 and 1927. Although he wanted to continue working, Klein was required to retire after 53.5 years of service. He petitioned to extend his career, citing his ability to predict tropical storms and his desire to contribute to the development of the hurricane warning system. Due to his age and length of service, however, he was forced to retire on January 1, 1936. Isaac Klein's official personnel folder documenting his extraordinary career is at the National Archives at St. Louis and is open to the public.